Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing this look for you. It is my recreation of the look Kim Kardashian posted on her Instagram the other day. This look was sickening. As soon as I saw it, I knew I had to do a tutorial on it. Obviously, I don't look anything like her. My hair is blonde. I live in small town America now, so there's not a place around me where I could find like a nice, awesome looking, dark, you know, long wig to really kind of make this look as close to hers as possible. So I made do with my white self and my blonde self to make it look as much like her look as I could. So the tutorial is very like a teachy kind of tutorial. I hope you guys don't mind that. That is like the old style that I used to do. I don't do this much anymore. I do kind of like chatty videos now, but I felt like this look was very particular in the like techniques and the little things that her makeup artist did to make this look come together, that I felt like I needed to be like super detailed with how I was explaining like techniques and stuff. So I hope you guys don't mind that. I like the way it turned out. Again, I think because I'm blonde, it like doesn't have the impact of hers does with her really dark, like straight hair. I think if I had dark hair, it would like take it over the top and really like pull it all together. But I still like it. It is very 90s. I haven't worn like gray cool tone eyeshadow in so long, and I actually really love it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you're new. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see how I got the look, then let's just get into it. Okay guys, so let's get this started. I already finished one eye just to save myself a little time. It turned out exactly how I wanted it to. I love when that happens. Okay, so to start off this eye look, we're going to prep our eyes. For that, I'm going to use my ColourPop No Filter Concealer. For this look, because there's a lot of white and lightness to it, I'm going in with a lighter color. So this was actually the first color I ever got. If you've watched my last couple videos where I talked about this concealer a lot recently, I got this color. It was too light. So for my face, however, perfect for this eye look. So I'm gonna apply some of that, and then I'm just gonna blend it in. This is a little synthetic Morphe brush. I'm gonna go a little old school with the shadows I'm gonna use today. I'm gonna use 3 different colors. They're all from MAC. They're single colors, and I believe MAC still does make all of them, hopefully. So we're gonna use Gesso, which is a matte white. We're going to use Carbon, which is a matte black. And then I'm going to use Scene, which is a matte gray. Now this isn't the best white ever. It is pretty dry, so I have to like scrub my brush in it to get the kind of payoff I want. But I'm basically going to take this shade and I'm going to set under my brow. And this is a MAC 252 brush. And then I'm going to apply this white shade basically all around the brow and into the inner corner. Now that the white is down, I'm going to go into the shade Scene with a Morphe M453. And I wanted to get sort of a smaller crease brush. I tend to go in with the Morphe M504 first, which is like my big fat crease brush, but this is not the look where I want it super blown out, which I usually like to do. This is definitely more specific in sort of the placement, so I wanted to go in with a smaller crease brush. And I'm going to start applying this shade in the crease area. And basically the shape we're creating is getting this saturated all the way across into the inner corner, and then very subtly pulled out and then connected straight down into the lash line. So you do want this gray to go all the way across the crease. If you look at the picture, they have it like all the way in here. So as you can see, I went all the way in, but it is fading and sort of transitioning. So when I go in with more product, I still always start right here in the outer corner first when I lay down my brush, and then I will gently start to blend in circular motions into the inner corner. So once that's starting to build up, I'm then going to focus on very lightly going in circles to blend it up into the white. It isn't blended super high, so that's why I'm going in small circular motions, because I don't want this gray to go like too high towards the brow. And then I'm also going to very subtly start to pull it out a little bit. It isn't really intensely winged out, but it's definitely winged out. And then now I'm going to pull that down, like I said, towards the lash line, using the same brush. And then to make sure this is all super blended in, I'm going to go back into Gesso, the white color, with the blending brush and kind of place that right where the gray and the white meet to further help blend them together, because this eye look was like insanely perfectly blended. Next, I'm going in with this tiny little crease brush. This is a Morphe M562, and I'm going to go into Carbon now, which is our black shade. And I'm very, very, very lightly starting to build this up. I'm going super slow with building up the black. I do want quite a bit of depth with this, but I don't want it to get like too crazy. So I'm going a little bit at a time with this little tiny brush. Now, there wasn't obviously like black all the way to the inner corner, but you can tell it kind of faded pretty nicely into that. So once I have my black applied, I'm very, very, very lightly blending that in just a little bit into the crease there. And then I'm gonna go back in with this brush just to make sure that's super blended. And now I'm gonna start building up this black in the outer corner. Now this Carbon I have is a couple years old, so it's not like the best black either. So I am having to build it up quite a bit. So once that black is as intense as I want it for now, I'm going to go back into Gesso, the white shade, and I'm going to start packing this on the lid. And I'm going to go back in with my gray and my black mixed together and just sort of buff that here in sort of like a diagonal line so that we get like a nice transitional look from the outer corner to the white lid. All right, so we are going to deepen up the outer corner just a tiny bit more, but before we do that, we're going to put on some liner. So this is the Morphe Felt Tip Liquid Liner in the shade Ink, and this is an amazing, very long-lasting liner. So the liner in this picture, it was not like a fleeky Instagram modern kind of eyeliner. It was a very like classic looking winged eyeliner. So that's what I went for. So I'm not making it like too thick along the lash line. It's staying pretty like tapered and tapering out nicely into a wing. I'm not gonna make it like modern where it's sort of like a chunky looking liner. I hope that makes sense. So now I'm going back into Carbon, but I'm using a Morphe E36. And what I'm going to do is kind of stamp this right in this corner area of the liner. So I'm not going near the inner corner, but I'm also not going near the tip of the wing. You're just going to go right in that kind of middle area by the outer corner, and then dab on the black eyeshadow. And this is just going to kind of melt the liner into the eyeshadow look. So you're still going to have this structure of the liner on the inner corner and the wing, but then it still looks like it's sort of flowing with the eyeshadow, if that makes sense. And then this is where we're going to deepen up just a little bit using this little pointed brush. And now you can make any adjustments. For this eye, I want to take a little more gray and pull it out so it matches this eye a little better. Okay, so the top of the eye is pretty much done. So now let's move on to the lower lash line. So I'm gonna start off by concealing under my eye to get a good base. Now I'm using the shade Light 10. And I'm just going to blend that in with the same brush. So I am gonna go in and actually kind of set a little bit of the concealer before I put on the eyeshadow underneath, because in the look, it's not blown out like I would usually do. It's super tight to the lash line in a very specific shape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm taking MAC Studio Fix powder in the shade NC10. This is what I'm gonna end up using to set my under eye fully, like when I do my foundation and everything. But I'm gonna use this sort of right around the edge here of where I'm gonna have the eyeshadow. So I'm not going all the way up to the lash line, because I do want that to still have some stick to it. But I am going sort of right here, almost all the way up. And basically this is gonna make it so the eyeshadow kind of blends really nicely into the skin tone, so it doesn't go down too far. It's gonna start mixing pretty quickly with this light color, so you won't end up making it too smoky, if that makes sense. So now I'm taking my E36 again, our little smudger, and I'm going in with Scene, which is our gray, and I'm going to very, very, very gently start dragging that across. And as you can see, I'm taking care not to pull this down too far. I want this really close to the lashes, but try not to get it in your waterline, because the waterline is a lighter shade. And since I already set all around this area, this gray is not gonna blend down too far. So to get the very distinctive lower lash line look she had, I'm gonna go back in with liquid liner. And then what we want to do is connect this top wing to our lower lash line with a very, very thin line. So just stamp along and connect it up. And then you can just stamp along the entire lower lash line. I'm then going to go back in with the black, and I'm going to go right up to that liner, and I'm telling you guys, like, so subtly, I'm almost applying no pressure. I just want the tiniest bit of this black shadow to blend into the liner, because there is like a harshness to this liner underneath, but at the same time, it's still like the littlest bit blended, if that makes sense. So you do need to go in with just a little bit of shadow to break this apart, so it's not too much of just like a crisp line. Now I'm gonna go in with a white liner, because she definitely had a brightness on her waterline. This is MAC Fascinating Eye Kohl. And I'm just going to very lightly run that across. This doesn't need to be like so white. So that's why I'm not like going in with a lot of pressure or like too many layers of it. I just want it to be brighter, but it doesn't need to be like harsh white. So now it is time for some lashes. So for this, I'm going to use DEMI WISPIES. These are Salon Perfect. It's a brand that they sell at Walmart. I love these things. They're so good. And you get a 5-pack for like $8 or something crazy. So I'm gonna put these on. I'm gonna use Duo Lash Glue, the dark toned one, to apply these. Dark Tone Duo is my absolute favorite lash glue. It's just the longest wearing I've literally ever tried. So while I'm letting that dry down here for a second, I'm gonna put on some mascara. This is the Maybelline Colossal Volume. Any mascara will work. And now I'm just gonna go back in with a little more carbon, because I feel like this eye is a little darker, just a little higher up. So I just want to make sure those are pretty even. I know I talk about this in like, I swear, every video lately, but I've been getting so bad at making my eyeshadow like as even as I used to be able to. Like I used to be able to make my eyeshadow so freaking even. And now I feel like such an old person because I'll like do it. And then as I'm sitting here like looking at myself in the mirror, I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I'll play back the video later, like when I'm editing, I'm like, what the hell was I doing? Like one side will be more like angled or more intense or like something. And I can't see it like right here, but then I can see it in the video when I play it back. Like I don't. Okay, so her face makeup in this look was flawless, literally. Okay, so other than that, it looks really matte, like all across looks very matte. And then she just has like the tiniest bit of shine. You can tell on the nose. You can tell there's like a little bit of highlight, a little bit of highlight in the chin. There might be some more highlight on her cheekbones, but if it is, it's like super subtle, looks very matte, and it's very sculpted looking face makeup. So that's what we're gonna go for today. I'm gonna start off by doing my foundation. I know this isn't a matte foundation, but I've been enjoying it and I just really want to continue using it. We are going to end up mattifying it, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go in the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation. And then as I learned in my last video I posted, which was the review first impression of this foundation, you get more full coverage with a brush. So I'm going in with that same brush I used in the video, which is my current favorite foundation brush. It was from a Morphe set that I don't think they make anymore, but any sort of like angled synthetic brush will do the trick. And I'm just gonna put this all over to get a really nice coverage. Now I am breaking out. I don't know if it's from this foundation. This is like the only recent face thing I've tried that like is different. So it could be the foundation breaking me out. I feel like though I don't usually break out from foundations, so I don't know exactly. But I mean, I'm loving the way it applies. I love the way it wears. All my other kind of thoughts and feelings from that video are still the same. Now that we are a full coverage queen, I'm going to go in and reapply my concealer under my eyes, because if you look, she's definitely very like sculpted, very highlighted and contoured. So I want to make sure my skin looks very the same way, I guess. Very the same way. So I'm going to use my concealer again. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit of the lighter color, Fair 10, or sorry, Fair 4. So I'm going to take my small concealer brush again, and I'm just going to dab to get like the maximum coverage possible, because her skin looks like insanely full coverage. And don't mess with that a lot. Like I'm not going to over blend it, because I don't want to start pulling off the powder and get like a really weird texture kind of moment there. I'm blending it just until it's like, you know, there's no lines anywhere, but I'm not going crazy. I'm bringing the lighter concealer also on the sides of my nose, and that's going to help with our contouring. So this next step is going to turn us into a kind of like a cake face, but I never said this was like church makeup, so it'll be fine. So next I'm going to go in with my Studio Fix powder again. I'm going to use NC10, which is a lighter color. I'm going to put that everywhere I highlighted, and then I'm going to blend in C3, which is more of like a natural skin tone color. I'm going to put that everywhere else, and then basically blend the two together. So I'm using my E49, the best under eye brush ever, and I'm stamping that where I highlighted under my eye. And now going in my darker shade everywhere else. And then as you can see, I'm like putting it here and then dabbing along the edges of where I put the lighter powder. And that's gonna help it all blend in. Okay, so this look, she's like bronzed, but then there's also that like moment of more grayed out contour. Like a very 90s kind of look, where the contouring, it's not as bronzy as it is today. So we're gonna try not to go too warm. So I'm gonna do something really different than I usually do. I'm gonna use a bronzer to just bronze. And I usually don't do that. I usually use bronzer to also contour, and I just kind of do all in one, the same product, but it's not what I'm gonna do today. So first I'm gonna bronze. So I'm gonna use this one. This one is already not too much of a warm color. This is Faux Tan Endless Summer Bronzer from Bare Minerals. And I talked about this in one of my previous videos as being like an amazing bronzer that is so neutral. There's literally like, there's no orange to it. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm just gonna bronze. So anywhere sun would naturally hit, I'm going to give myself the most subtle color. So this is really just bringing color to the face, not to bring shape to the face. So I'm gonna put it in like those areas I would usually contour, but I'm not going as harsh as I would usually go, if that makes sense. So once I get here to the sides of my face where I usually bronze, I'm going to not just go in the contour, I'm just gonna like fade this from the hairline in, because this is just gonna give us like color to our face, but I'm not going into that contour yet. I hope that makes sense. So just starting here and pulling in. All right, so now I'm gonna go in with an actual contouring color, which is crazy for me, I know. So this is Taupe from MAC. It's a contouring powder that is a very gray brown. And with this, I'm gonna go in with a Morphe M554. And this is a perfect little cheek brush. If there was any brush I would ever recommend to you, there would actually be a lot of them. But this is one of the top on my list, the Morphe M554. It is the softest effing brush ever. Perfect for blush, contour, all that shit. It's so good. It's just so good. And you honestly need it, I promise. So let's start sculpting. So I'm going to keep this really concentrated in the cheekbone area, starting in the back part of my cheek, and blend it in. And it didn't go like too far in, so I'm not gonna go like too far into where I'm getting close to like the corner of my mouth. I'm just gonna let it kind of fade out. I wish it wasn't like 9:30 at night, because I'd really love to wear this makeup somewhere. It's like so much, but I also kind of don't care. All right, so a couple things about this nose. Her nose is extremely contoured in this picture. As you can see, it's very contoured. I am not good at contouring my nose, or anyone's nose for that matter. I hate nose contouring. Whenever I worked at MAC and Morphe and people would ask me to contour their nose, I would kind of like, in my insides would like, yeah, sure, I would love to contour your nose. Like, and I would go so light and I'd be like, oh my God, see how natural it looks? And they'd be like, I don't see it. And I'm like, that's what you want. You don't want to see it. I hate contouring my nose. So this is going to be fun and fresh. But the easiest brush I've found to contour my nose is this Morphe R11. It's like a little tiny paddle powder brush, but I find it works well for this. So I'm going to take the color Taupe again, because it's definitely a super gray, cool tone. I'm going to start on the bottom part of my nose. Also, my nose is not made for contouring. All these people have like a smooth nose. My nose has like ridges and shit, where, because you guys know I had a rhinoplasty, and it wasn't done by a plastic surgeon. It was done by an ear, nose, throat surgeon. So that person is just like, they just do surgery to like fix a functional problem. They're not like plastic surgeon who knows how to like smooth things out to make it look pretty, because that wasn't the point of it. So my nose isn't like perfectly smooth. So this side of my nose contours a lot easier than this side of my nose. Oh God, see? This is already a disaster. So I'm gonna try my best to contour my nose here. I'm gonna go all the way up and sort of wrap it into the bridge here. See, this is why I don't do this. Look how stupid. Oh God. All right, I'm gonna fix this. I'm just gonna get the color down first. This is why you will never see a nose contouring tutorial on my channel, ever. Like, look how stupid I look. I'm gonna try to go in with my under eye setting brush and see if I can blend this in. Because here's the problem. This part of my nose up here sticks out further, and then this part goes in, and then this part sticks out further. So if I try to just go straight up, it's like it goes up, in, up again. Does that make sense? It's just dumb. So I'm just gonna try to blend this in. I'm trying, guys, okay, I'm trying. I'm gonna like end up ruining this makeup with my freaking nose contour. I'm gonna now go in with some blush. Her blush is extremely subtle. It's like so subtle that I kind of can't tell. It's just like a, I don't know, just a little something something. So I'm gonna go in with this Morphe blush trio in the Pop of Blush shade. And I'm gonna use this guy right here, which is called Sexy. And I'm just gonna apply this. I'm not gonna get this towards the center of the face. Her blush is almost more on the tops of her cheekbones. So I'm gonna keep this like towards the top of the cheekbone and just like pull back, but not go too close to the nose area. All right, guys, so now it's time for highlighter. Like I said, she had like a little bit of a glow. You can definitely see it in the center of her face. I'm sure if maybe she turned her head, you could probably see some. I'm sure he wouldn't just highlight her nose and then not her cheekbones. So I'm gonna go in with like a subtle highlight. This isn't like a blinding highlight. This is something that gives you glow, but it's not too much. And this is the Morphe High Impact Highlighter in the shade Extra. So I usually use Spark from them, which I like a lot, but Spark is a lot more like a blinding highlight, whereas this isn't. This is much softer. So I'm going to start by highlighting the nose, which you could definitely see like the tip of her nose is highlighted, and then the bridge of her nose was definitely highlighted as well. And then I'm going to do the Cupid's bow, which I could definitely see. And then I could see some on her chin and her forehead, very lightly. And then, like I said, I'm just going to assume he also did her cheekbones, because why wouldn't he? And just hit the top of the cheekbone so lightly with that. See, it's just like the tiniest bit. So now for the final part of this look, we're going to throw on our lip. So her lip was a very like nude brown kind of shade, very kind of grayed out like liner, grayish brown, and then a very light color in the center. So I'm going to use a combo I really, really love. This is the NYX lip liner in the shade Nude Beige, which is a very like grayish taupey brown kind of color. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you'll see. And I am going to overline my lips quite a bit to make my lips look really full, because her lips look so full and amazing. I wish I had full lips, but I'm too afraid to get lip injections. And yeah, so I'm just going to overline a lot. And then for the Cupid's bow area, I am flattening it out a bit. That is what her natural shape kind of looks like, that more flattened out Cupid's bow area. And that's what I prefer. I'm not a big fan of the really like pointy Cupid's bow, so I am going pretty flat across. And when I overline my lips on the bottom, I'm focusing more on overlining the center of the lip. So for my lipstick, I put Flesh Pot from MAC on top, which gives it a very light look in the center. All right, so last little touch, I'm gonna add a little mole here. I'm gonna do it on this side to kind of cover up some of this texture. That is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was like super teachy, but that's sort of like my old school style of video, how I used to be. And I felt like this look was just, it was so particular, the way everything was done, that it was definitely something I felt like I needed to like over explain each step to make it all make sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you next time. Bye.